We'll just wait for a couple of minutes and we'll start the class. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Yeah. So yesterday, what and all we have discussed? Yesterday we discussed about regions.
Regions availability zones and in info about the cloud computing, different types of uh, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, these all things we have discussed. Infrastructure
Yes.
as a service, platform as a
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. And today we thought of doing this one, right? So today we thought of discussing about how to create an account,
Yes.
right, in the AWS. And before going to that, I just want to discuss two more points. One is shared responsibility model, right? So what is that shared responsibility model? And also just a difference between what are the cloud components we have in the market, like AWS, Azure, and GCP. What are those? Why are those famous in their respective domains? For example, see, if you take KSR technologies, why KSR is different from other institutions? There should be some specialty, right? There should be some specialty or some specific domain expertise that should be different from other market pioneers to attract the customers. You understood? So, if, for example, uh, There are two shops. I mean, there are two kind of two shops or two. There are kind of whatever you take. If there are there are two same things. And why do you need to purchase? If you want to purchase a garland, or if you want to purchase some clothes, right? If you want to purchase kind of, I mean, or some kind of any kind of jewelry item or any kind of stuff, why do you by looking at two shops, how do you prefer? Like, do you find some kind of distinction, and you find something, some kind of innovation in that, and based on what you like, you go there, right? For example, you take um, why people most of the people go to the DMart to purchase groceries. Why don't I mean, why don't they go to the supermarket? There is a supermarket beside DMart, right? It's not supermarket, it's a kind of small supermarket. So I mean, most of the people go to the DMart, right? I mean, 80% will go to the DMart, and 20% customers will go to the supermarket. What is I mean, there is a supermarket, okay? Supermarket is there. Okay. So yeah, tell me why. I mean, why do they people why people prefer DMart, and why do the people prefer DMart? Anyone?
Price, due to their pricing.
Okay. Next, because it was
Quality,
huge.
quantity,
Yes.
hugeness, everything.
Yeah. Exactly. S- Still, some people goes to supermarkets these days. Why?
Because they
There
are
are
near to the home. If small things will be near to the home, DMart will be far away, right? Because it
exactly.
will be a big market. It need a wider place and everything. So the DMarts will be somewhat little away from their homes.
Exactly. So you find the difference, right? So there is a benefit for each and everything. For example, supermarket has a separate benefit, and I mean, DMart has a separate benefit, right? So people who are kind of who want to purchase more, or if they want to uh, if they want to purchase for if they want to, there are two things: wholesale and retail. How many of you heard about this?
Yes.
Wholesale market and retail market.
Retail market.
Anyone heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you mean by wholesale, and what do you mean by retail? So wholesale is something, if you want to purchase the bulk, and I mean, and you want to sell again, you are purchasing from the supermarket. I mean, you are purchasing, for example, for example, you are purchasing uh, instead of two soaps, you are purchasing the whole kind of the whole box of the soaps or something. I mean, the toothbrushes or anything, and you are selling. You will sell those again, right? You will make some profit, and you will sell those again, right? So that's what the wholesale market is. Like, retail is something you will just purchase and you will use for your consumers. I mean, you are like a consumer. You will just purchase and you will just consume, right? So that is what the retail market is. And see, most of the people who goes to the DMart are the wholesale. I mean, wholesale people, in the sense, people who who people who goes there. I mean, the small business people, and they will bring to their home, and they will sell in their home. I mean, you see, right? In their homes, they will keep some small kind of shops and they will sell it, right? So those are the people who are DMart. I mean, people who purchase wholesale market kind of, and they will sell it, right? So, and now coming to supermarket is something people who are nearby and people who goes uh, and purchase daily stuffs or I mean yeah. So those kind of people prefer supermarket. In the same way, supermarket is specialized in these things and DMart is specialized in that way, right? In the same way, AWS, Azure, and GCP. So AWS was specialized in handling the multiple, I mean, the launching multiple microservices, right? And also they are very good at innovation, right? And coming to Microsoft, they're very good at, I mean, Microsoft is very good at handling, the documentation. If you see the documentation for the Microsoft, you don't find anyone anywhere, right? And it obviously AWS is the, 1 second. So AWS is the largest stakeholder. I mean, largest stakeholder in the sense, AWS is the, I mean, uh, largest stakeholder in the market. I mean, it's having more than 30 to 40% of the global share, you know. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Okay. And so you find the difference, right? So first is, AWS is mainly used for AWS is mainly the best for startups and e-commerce platforms and serverless architecture because of the innovativeness of the microservices. And if you see AWS relaunch, so they will launch multiple, I mean, the innovative services. They're ahead of the market. And if you see the SageMaker or, they're very good at the microservices or the innovative services, right? And like Netflix runs completely on AWS, because of the many regions and the high bandwidth and the global scalability. So because of all these reasons, AWS is best for the one who, uh, it's used for best startups and, as I told, e-commerce platforms and all. Now coming to Azure. Azure is something it used for, I think it's launched around 2010, right? I think it was also having the second highest stakeholder, it's 23%. And as I told, it is the best in the documentation. So Microsoft, if you see, Microsoft is very good for documentation. Mhm. Okay, right. Yeah. So Microsoft is very good at document, and it's mainly best for on-premise to cloud migrations. They had come up with in services, right? And those services are very utilized in this on-prem to cloud migrations and hybrid cloud setups. And mainly, see, Microsoft. What do you think Microsoft is very good at? Like, uh, they're good at Windows, right? So they are having Windows servers and they are very good at their base is Windows servers, right? And also the SQL, Windows servers and SQL server environments and .NET technologies. So these all things are they are pioneers at these technologies, and they're having the popular services which will be used are like Azure AD or Azure Sentinel. So these are some of the kind of use cases why they use for like Windows servers and SQL server environments and .NET technologies, right? And now coming to GCP. you know. So GCP, they're they're the third highest stakeholders in the market, and their market share is around 10%. I mean, compared to, I mean, not 10 to 15%. In the 2011, I think so, they launched, and they see, after they launched, they came up with the kind of data analytics, and they had launched with data analytics and AML and the Kubernetes, right? And they came up with the Kubernetes kind of leadership. They started with the Kubernetes leadership, the GCP, GKE. We call it as a GKE, right? So, and they had started with this because Google has started the Kubernetes. How many of you know this? Google has started. I mean, Google has started, even the SRE started by Google. You know that one? Anyone?
No.
No. So Google has started this SRE, and Google only started this. What do we call? Uh, I mean, Kubernetes. Starting, they had used Kubernetes in their own uh, environment, and then they came up. I mean, they came outside, and they started this Kubernetes. Right? Next, and now GCP is done. So GCP, I mean, yeah. So GCP is mainly used for. So GCP is mainly used for BigQuery. BigQuery, I mean, they are very good at BigQuery. GCP is mainly famous for BigQuery, and I mean, for scalable storage, and so mainly used for big data and Hadoop and BigQuery. So these are actually used for analytics and IoT. And if you see any company which are working on analytics and IoT, backend they use backend they use this GCP. You know, and yeah. So as I told, so first is right, and now, so if you see here, AWS, Azure, GCP, and AWS is mainly used for, as I told, like it's for startups, right? And Azure is mainly for documentation or Microsoft based companies, for example, .NET, right? And GCP is mainly used for heavy apps like big data, right? And if you see hybrid cloud, like, I mean, Azure Arc, right? Azure Arc and Anthos is the one for GCP, and for AWS, it's Outposts, we call it as, right? And we have EKS and Kubernetes services. These are AKS and GKE. And yeah, so that's the thing. And we call it as, see, in here we call it as EC2. Here we call it as VMS, VM scale sets we call it as, and here we call it as compute engine. What is this EC2? What is this VMS? What is this compute engine? We'll speak about this one. EC2 is something, the servers, VMs. We call it as VMs, right? And we have RDS here, and we have SQL database, because as I told, SQL database we have, and we have cloud SQL. See, everything is same. The only the thing is the names differ. You know, see, the backend is same, the virtual machine. The just names are different. That's it. If they take the same names, they will get. I mean, if if it is the same names, they will get the patent issues and all, right? So we call it as here IAM. Here we call it as an Azure AD, and here we call it as a I cloud IAM. That's it. So everything is same. The backend, everything. I mean, the concepts are same, but the only the names are different. That's it, right? And yeah, now we'll discuss about how to create an AWS account. So everyone is ready for that one, or so everyone kept your credit cards ready to create an AWS account. So I recommend you to create with me because see, once you lost the momentum, you will not, you might go back and you might, I mean, you might create, you might not create, right? So I just want you to create with me. Okay. See, the first thing here, what do you first give your email address? Okay. So I have some email address called, for example, I have this email address. Okay. And give the account name, give here AWS account name. So what, I mean, whatever account name you want to be mentioned in the account, I mean, in the account in the sense in the top, it's a kind of username, right? So it's just a kind of username. Thought, no, I just gave some random, that's it. So click on verify email address. So P3BHXB, right? It will come to the your email address, right? For example, you're seeing here, right? So this is the email address, and I got the code, and I just pasted here, and I just verified, right? So now what it is saying, your password provides you with sign-in access to AWS. It's important we get it right. So we, what is a root user password? What is a root user password? So you, I mean, most of the people are in the Linux class, right? So what do you mean by root user password? What is this? Why didn't he give the I mean user password? What does he mean by root? Anyone? Anyone?
Root user means the head of the account.
Yes. So root user is something he is having all the privileges, right? In the real time, when you join a company, I mean, in the real time, they will not give you the root user password. So they will give you the single sign-on. Okay. So you need to configure I mean your credentials by using AWS CLI. Okay, in everywhere in the real time. I mean to say in when you join a company, right? So you will be they will be providing you the AWS CL, I mean, they will be providing you the access key, right? And account ID, right? So based on that, you will be configuring the AWS CLI, AWS configure, okay? AWS CLI, you should be, I mean, you will be configuring the AWS CLI, right? So, I mean, you people don't think by, I mean, when I log into the, when I join a new company, they'll give me the user ID and password to log into the AWS. No, if you ask them, then you are gone. They will find out that you are an uh, you are very new to AWS, right? So, uh, as I told you, have to configure the AWS CLI, right? And you need to work from the AWS CLI, right? And also, you will not, once you log in, right? So let me give the password. Give the password something like teaching 123, right? Teaching one, continue. Oh, mm, demo class 123, demo class 123. Let's say this. Yeah. See, there are here two things. One is free and one is paid. Okay. So if you are so rich, you can choose the paid plan. So if uh, so we will be using this free plan. Okay. So free plan is something you will be having 100 credits and you can use for, I think, 12 months, or I mean, now they changed it to 6 months, I guess. Yeah. 6 months, and where you can use some resources. Okay. You can use some resources, or you can use some free services. There are free eligible tier, right? Free eligible services where you can utilize those things. And whenever after you are utilizing those services, I recommend you to terminate or delete those services. Okay. Otherwise, you will be having, I mean, your credits will be exhausted. Okay. You will be having $100 credits, and those credits will be exhausted, and you will be charged, right? Okay. So you will be charged with those. Every time, whenever you create an account, right? Whenever you create an account, you just go ahead. Whenever you create any service or whenever you work on any service, right? So after you complete of your service of practice, just go ahead and terminate, or just go ahead and uh, clear it off, completely clear it. Okay. So you can, how do you plan to use AWS? Personal, and give your name, right? For example, Mahendra, I'll give 91 India, and I'll give 85. I'll give some number. Okay. Country, India. Okay. Sorry. Right. So here, coming to, see, so I recommend you to give your credit card. Okay. Don't give some, kind of virtual credit cards or anything. okay, the wrong credit cards or anything. So just give your credit card, nothing happens. Okay. So once, so you can have the billing. Okay. And so I'm not going to create it now, this one. I mean, I think I already have, but I already have 2 to 3 accounts. So once I'm done with that, and then I'm going to create it. But see, after this step, that's done. It will create the account. Okay, this is the final step, like using the credit card. So once you give the credit card, and you don't fear that, okay, I mean, the credit card will be saved or credit card will be utilized. No worries, but you can give your you can give your credit card here, and you can sign up using this. You can sign up using this AWS account, right? You can do this, right? Any doubts here? Anyone?
No.
No, right? Okay. So yeah, I'll just stop it here. I mean, I'll just stop it in the sense I'll just stop creation here, because I doesn't want to create, because I have already 2 to 3 accounts. So I don't want to create it again. I'll just want to create after, I mean, after 2 to 3 months. So, all right. So, and we'll today, I mean, we'll discuss about one more thing, one more topic, that is, I forgot, is shared responsible model. You know, so what is the shared responsible model? You know, in AWS, this is very important, the shared responsible model. So shared responsible model is something, I mean, let me bring it back. Let me see. Uh, See, shared responsibility model is something, you know, I purchased a new one and it's not working. Pay, yeah. So shared responsibility model is which things you should handle and which things cloud should handle. For example, there are some security tasks. As I told yesterday, uh, the data should be handled by you, and some, I mean, some data will be given to cloud provider, some data will be kept with them, like private data center or something like that, right? So that is what the shared responsible model is. I mean, the important which tasks should handle by cloud, right? See, for example, you are one, I mean, this is cloud, right? And this is, I mean, your organization. So which things you give to the which things you give to the cloud, I mean, for example, there are some secrets. I mean, there are some customer data, right? The customer data, you doesn't want to give it to cloud. You want to keep it with you, customer data or personal data. I mean, the confidential data, right? You want to keep it within the organization, right? And the, I mean, unwanted like or artifacts or you can, and for analytics, what is for analytics? Analytics is something used for marketing or to study the market or study the data, right? So that is what the analytics is. So that is not that important. That is not that secure, right? So you can give it to the cloud. You can store it in the cloud, right? So that is where, see, physical, if you want the customer data also to handle the cloud, so that's where the security matters, right? So there is a kind of security where the physical data centers or private data centers, right? Uh, I mean, kind of like the encryption mechanism. So all these things comes into picture when you want to keep some I mean, personal data or I mean, kind of confidential data into the cloud. Then that's where I mean, kind of security comes in. You really matters. I mean, the organization really matters about the security is somewhere something which is the I mean the data which comes under like kind of I mean customer data or I mean which important data comes in the picture. And now what from the cloud, what will they provide? What they provides the security, and how do you get the confident that okay, now banks, so many banks are moving to the cloud and all. How did they bring the that kind of confidence in the market? No, you know. So first is physical data centers. Cloud is responsible. I mean, we'll speak about what is cloud is responsible for, right? Cloud is responsible for data centers, physical data centers. Okay, physical DCs. What is physical data center? So if anything happens to the data centers, if anything happens to the kind of servers, if you are using a virtual machine and that virtual machine, as I told, in that virtual machine was in the backend, it's a kind of server, physical server. And if that physical server happened anything, I mean, if that physical server got affected, then the cloud, AWS or Azure or GCP are responsible. Okay. And they are responsible for hardwares. Okay. Hardware and networking. Okay. And storage and as I told, a hypervisor and global regions and uptime for cloud services, right? Uptime for all cloud services, right? So what and all they provide the service, they are all the responsible for that. So imagine you rent a flat. As yesterday also I took the same. Imagine you rent a flat, right? So do you, I mean, do you take the ownership? For example, if anything goes wrong in your flat, right? For example, lift is not working. So you just pay the maintenance. You don't repair the lift, right? Do you repair the lift? No, right? So you just pay the maintenance. You just pay the maintenance for the security guard, right? Or you just pay the water or, I mean, water or electricity. That's it. So the owner manages all these things. You just pay the maintenance. That's it, right? So that's what here also. So you just pay for what you use. That's it. If anything goes wrong. So for example, if anything goes wrong in these, if anything goes wrong, you're not responsible, right? So you just pay, you just pay for what you use. That's it, right? You're getting what I'm saying. So that is what. And now the customer, what customer handles. So cloud is responsible for all these things, right? And what is the customer? What is the organization need to handle, right? So, so cloud is responsible for, as I told, cloud and organization or customer. Cloud is responsible for physical hard disk or all these things, right? I mean, all hardware you can take. And now coming to the customer, he is responsible for his data protection. He is responsible for data protection and encryption and IAM. IAM in the sense, how does he manage his access, identity and access and authorizations and other authentication, all these things he has to take care. Customer has to take care. The cloud is doesn't, and he will provide the network. See, he will provide the network. He has to take the configuration. For example, VPC configurations and firewalls. So he need to take care. And now coming to the, he will provide the operating system. He need to take about the patching. You know what is a patching, right? So the firewall, for example, every monthly or every month or every quarterly once, Red Hat releases, every software releases the patches for vulnerabilities. Okay. They have to install these kind of softwares to make up to date system up to date. So for example, in your you take the system, you take your laptop, so you will get an update from the Microsoft to install it. I mean, it will ask to update and restart, right? It will ask for updates, even if you're having your smartphone, right? Android. So Android or iPhone. So it will ask for every app to get update, right? So that is what uh, I mean. In that updates, either it will be security fix, or it will be kind of enhancing the new features, right? These all things will be there. And now, so coming to monitoring, monitoring is also, it's your headache, right? And so that is what. So these all things you will be taking care of. I mean, these all things you will be. I mean, the customer has to take care of, and providing. See, providing the hardware, networking, providing the base is something cloud will do, and on top of that, you take care of your data. So that is what the customer's responsibility is, right? And now coming to the, for example, as I told, you took flat for rental, right? You are in the rental flat, and since you took the flat for rent, you will not close your doors, you will not lock your doors and you will sleep. No, right? You will lock your doors, and you will keep the CCTV, install your own CCTV, and you will keep your house clean. So these all things you need to take care, right? So that's how here also in the coming to customer, the data protection, encryption, all these things he has to take care. It, I mean, the cloud will not, the cloud is not responsible if you lose your data, right? Lose your data in the sense, your it will have some services. Everything has some services. If you use those services, it's fine, right? So for example, we have certificate manager, right? Encryption at rest services, IAM services. If you use those services, it's fine. If you doesn't use those services, the cloud will not take the responsibility. You got it, right? And in the same way, so we have service models as well. Like as I yesterday I told, right, IaaS, infrastructure as a service, and infrastructure. So yeah, IaaS, PaaS, and we have s- I mean software as a service, right? So what customer manages here in IaaS is OS, apps, and IAM network. These and all things customer manages. Like I mean, the customer is going to work on all these things. And what cloud provider gives? Storage, hardware, and all these things. And coming to platform as a service. So code, customer works on coding, data, and user access, these all things. And what cloud provides? Runtime. What is runtime? Runtime is something, um, have you heard about ECS tasks like Elastic Container Services? So runtime is something, it's a kind of, what do we call? So if you want to execute a program, see for example, hackathon, right? So hackathon, or there are some lot of runtime available in the let me give you this one. Let me show you this. See, Python online compiler. So what is this? So what is this? This is a kind of runtime. So they are giving you the runtime and you can run it, and you can run this. You can run any of the program, right? So for example, if I run this, you will get an output, right? See, try program. So where is it running in the backend? So that is where the runtime, they will call it as an, you will get as an bundle, the whole bundle in the backend, and you are able to execute it. So that is what the runtime is, and they will provide you the runtime, and what you need to do, you need to write the code, you need to work on data, user access, all these things, right? You understood, right? So that is what the runtime is. And they will give, I mean, what cloud will provide is OS, operating system, the runtime, and the security they will provide. And coming to the SaaS, software as a service. Software as a service is something like, I mean, you will have the data, I mean, customer will be having data and user access. And what they will provide, I mean, what cloud provider will provide? The application. He will provide the application and the infrastructure. He will provide the application and you will be working on that application. That is what the SaaS is, software as a service. Okay. So any doubts till here? So you got the, what is the difference between how, I mean, how the shared responsibility takes place? For example, how the shared responsibility takes place between the cloud and between the customers. You got it? You want me to, I mean, any doubts here? So if not, I have some questions. So just you can unmute yourself and just answer. Okay. So how many of you are there in the class? Right. So for example, there is an S3 bucket. I'll tell you what kind of I mean, what are all those things. So for example, there is an S3 bucket. S3 bucket is a kind of uh, is a service. S3 is a service. Okay. And it was misconfigured and the data got exposed. Data got exposed in the sense the data got breached and exposed. Who is responsible here? Can anyone answer? Anyone? So S3 bucket, someone misconfigured the S3 bucket and the data got exposed. Data breach happened. Who is responsible here? AWS cloud or customer? Who is responsible? Anyone? You can unmute and you can answer. Hello?
Maybe customer,
Why customer?
because the security all will be done by customer, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So because the bucket permissions, the permissions are controlled by the user, and obviously it was the customer. So it was the customer who has given it the permissions, right? So it's the customer, right? Another question. So for example, the AWS, the data center power got failed. All applications got, got down. Who is responsible here?
Cloud.
Yeah, because it's a kind of physical infrastructure. So because of the infrastructure, right? And yeah. So any doubts here? If not, we'll go for the next one. That is, you want to start today itself, or you want me to start tomorrow? I am. So we have IAM, and I think IAM is bit. It will take one class, 1 to 2 class. Let me show you the. Let me show you this. Just open the AWS console and let me show you this AWS console how it looks like. Right. Let me log into the AWS console. Tomorrow we'll discuss about this IAM. Let me just log in. It's very slow. So today I can see the new Krishna Pratap Bhavanam. So who? Hi Krishna. So you're the new to this class, or how it was?
Yeah, hi. I should also listen your class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're. What is your background? Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, myself Krishna Pratap. I completed my graduation in 2019, and my my graduation is a pharma. It's a medical background.
Okay. Okay.
So there is no proper growth on that field. So that's why I want to switch to DevOps engineer.
Okay.
That's why I'm seeking of learning the course.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a marketplace, it is console. And the console. Okay. See, this is how it looks like, right? So these are the, I mean, I think still it's taking his one. Let me sign out. Mhm. Well, it's for I think I'll see this afterwards. I don't know what happened, what's wrong with this. So yeah. Give me 1 minute. I'm just resetting the password. The problem is like in our office, it's very strict and we need to change the password for every monthly. We need to change the password. We need to come up with a new password. So there are a lot of passwords and we have this locker as well. I mean, where we can rotate the passwords, but still I get confused with the passwords. Yeah. So what is AWS management console? Next, XPR 573. Okay, finally. So you're seeing, right? So this is what these are the services. I mean, if you want all the services, see there are how many services we have, right? And this is how you can utilize. I mean, you can get to know how the cost is, and you can create the alarms, right? You can monitor your budget, the complete. So these all things you can do here, billing and management console, right? So you can go here and you can create the alarms, right? So you can create an alarm, it will forecast. So as of now, there is no data available for forecasting for the next month, but so so you can create an alarm and you can get to know how much you are utilizing, right? So how much is remaining still for your free credits. So these all things you can get to know by this billing and cost management, like I mean by using this service. And yesterday we spoke about this regions and availability zones, all these things, right? So hope you're able to see my screen, right? So there are 17 regions that are not enabled for this account. So since it's a free tier and it's not, those 17 regions are not enabled. Okay. So you can see the regions. So United States and North Virginia, Ohio. So these are all the regions, you know. So, and inside the regions, how the data centers you cannot see, okay? The availability zones you cannot see. You can only see the regions. You can select the region and you can go to that particular region and you can work. I mean, you can create the resources. You can create the EC2 instances or you can work on that particular region, right? So that's what this is what the regions are, right? And see, and this is something, it's a cloud shell, what we call, okay? And it's a kind of CLI, right? See, here also it's a kind of, so it's just a kind of CLI, okay? So, and yeah, and you can see here, these are the EC2 instances and EC2 IAM. And tomorrow we will work on IAM. Tomorrow we'll discuss about these IAM roles, what is IAM and why it is so important. And there are some roles in the company that only managing the IAM resources, like I mean IAM resources in the sense, they will tell you the DevOps role, but once you go inside the DevOps, I mean once you join the company, you should be maintaining these IAM roles for that company. And so it's a cloud admin role, kind of cloud admin roles, right? So tomorrow we'll discuss about what is this IAM and what are the services like EC2 service, all these things. And we have Bedrock. What is this Bedrock? AI applications, like those who people are looking out for AI, I mean ML ops. So Bedrock will use, right? SageMaker we have, right? Amazon SageMaker, right? So these all things we'll discuss in the coming classes. Right? Right. That's it. I strongly recommend for you to today you go ahead and create the AWS account. Okay. So it will be used for you. It will be used for tomorrow's class to uh, how can we, I mean, how we can create the IAM resources and all. So we'll discuss tomorrow. Yeah. Any doubts? If not, any doubts regarding the course or any doubt? Any doubts regarding how it's going to go forward or anything?
Yeah, can you, I mean, like go through one more time, like what are we going to learn in this course? So what are the curriculum and what exactly we are going to cover?
Yeah. So in this course, we are going to learn from the, I think it started 1-2 months back. So the main idea was to cover the end-to-end complete to become the MLOps. We should be able to deploy an MLOps model, and we should be able to, uh, I mean, we should be able to view them, kind of apply the SRE principles on top of the ML model. For example, the accuracy and latent, the metrics, what we are going to SL was SLIs, all these things we are going to apply onto the ML model, right? And so at the end, we should be able to, our main goal is to deploy the ML model with the kind of SRE principles. So that's what the main goal, I mean, the end goal of what you will be learning. So that's the thing.
Oh, actually, any like syllabus is available, like, we are going to cover this, and then we are going to cover this many projects or something like that. Any syllabus is ready, which we can go through.
Yeah, we have the course curriculum, right? So we have the
Yeah.
curriculum, and I think I'll ask them to share with you, right? So we have the
Okay.
curriculum, and you can go through. In that curriculum, we have all the topics which we'll be covering. For example, ML flow, Cube flow, all these topics which we'll be covering. For monitoring, we will be using ML flow and Prometheus and Grafana, and governance and track leakage, I mean lineage and documentation, this compliance. All these
Mhm.
things were covered, will be covered in that course curriculum. I think I'll ask the team to share with you, right?
Sure, thanks.
Yeah. Um, anything else? No. If not, we'll wind up the class here, and tomorrow we'll discuss. As I told, we'll discuss about the IAMs. Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.